Approximately 10:15 this morning, officers responded to multiple calls of shots being fired in the 6900 block of Rundlehorn Drive Northeast. Upon arrival, officers found one woman deceased and a 15-year-old woman injured. A short while later, after communication had been given out about a suspect fleeing in a vehicle, a patrol vehicle spotted the suspect in a vehicle in the 4000 block of Whitehorn Drive Northeast. Before pulling over, the suspect fired a single shot outside of the vehicle and, as said, just pulled over almost immediately. Officers were able to take the man in custody without incident. Within the vehicle, there were 2 children, an 11-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy. Neither were injured. An autopsy on the deceased woman is being conducted this morning, and the young woman was taken to hospital where she's being treated for her injuries, and she's currently in non-life-threatening condition.
Can you clarify the time of what time you guys were first called?
It was approximately 12:15, just after midnight.
The teenager that was also injured, was that a gunshot wound, or what were the nature of the injuries?
It appears right now that it was a gunshot wound. Again, it's non-life-threatening condition. I don't know the specifics.
Can you tell us the relationship between the people involved here, the 15-year-old girl with the deceased, the 2 children, the suspect as well?
From what I understand right now is they were all a family. It was all, it was the mom and the dad, and then the daughter, and then the 2 kids in the back. From what I understand at this point, they're also son and daughter.
So mother, father, and three children?
3 children, yes. And of course it was the older daughter who sustained the injuries, and the 2 younger children didn't sustain any injury.
When he fired the weapon, was it in any direction? Was it towards officers? Or?
The information I have right now that it was actually up in the air. So it wasn't at officers. And just before he pulled over, he just shot around outside and then pulled over. And it wasn't directed at anything.
Have police been called to this house before in the past?
No, the information that I'm privy to, there's been no, the police haven't been called to that address certainly for not domestic-related incidents.
What about the suspect? Can you tell us, is there a history with police with the suspect?
He's known to police. And that's all I can tell you at this point.
Was there a weapon recovered at the Whitehorn scene?
Yes. I mean, obviously, because the male, he shot a round at that point, so of course we have that.
So what kind of weapon?
It was a firearm. That's all I can tell you right now.
Were all of them residents in that specific house, or was this a separated couple or a divorced couple?
I don't have that information at this point. Again, we're 10 hours into the situation, people being interviewed right now, so we don't have the complete information. So I can't tell you that for sure.
How many shots were fired inside the home?
That I don't know.
But there were shots were fired inside the home, not at the home.
That's where the scene was, correct. That's where we responded to, and that's where we found the deceased woman, and the injured daughter was within the home.
But was that his address as well?
Again, that's something that I don't know right now. I don't have that information because we don't, in the interviews, and we're in the midst of interviewing neighbors and of course the suspect and everybody involved.
And how old was the deceased?
I don't know the age.
You said
30s. That's what I understand, in her 30s, yes.
Were the children found in the vehicle in any distress or any harm?
No, they weren't harmed. They weren't harmed. And of course, not being at the scene, I don't know the level of distress they're in, but of course there was no injury to the children at all.
Can you say, were they transported from the house after the shooting by the suspect?
Yes.
Has he been charged?
Not quite yet. He hasn't been charged yet. He's still in police custody, and we're continuing with the investigation at this point. Of course, he's involved with that, so he hasn't been charged yet.
Did you mention how old he is?
No, and I don't have the information as to how old he is.
Did the initial 911 call come from within the home or from somewhere else?
It came from several different places, actually. There was neighbors called, and also the older daughter had called as well. So it came from a couple different sources.
Do you have any information on what led to this incident? If there had been an altercation before that?
We've got no information at all. There's nothing, no.
What's next for this woman and that teenager now? Once they're out of hospital, if you know.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I guess, just this guy's in custody and she's in hospital. Are they all going to go back home, or what's next for?
I really don't know. Obviously, we're going to provide her as much support as she needs. I don't know what she will do once she gets out. I don't know when that would be, but he will be in police custody.
Has she been interviewed yet?
She's still in the hospital being treated. And again, I mean the specifics of her interview, I I don't know that, because again, it's just we're at 3 different scenes right now. She's been treated, and the interview would be the probably the least priority at this point.
Would the suspect's name be released?
After he's charged.
Inspector, can you expand on that at all? You say that he's known to police. Is this something that's a long-term thing? Is it only recently? Do you have any sense of why is he known to police?
I can't expand. I can't get into details. It's simply that he's known. He's known to us. I can't get into the specifics.
For anything domestic related, can you say? Or
No, I just can't get into details at all about how he's known.
do you know how many shots were fired inside the house?
I don't.
Can ask you that?
I don't know how many shots were fired. There was multiple shots. I just don't know how many.
Certainly more than one then. inside the
Correct.
house.
Correct.
But clearly no history or record of domestic issues at this household.
The information that I'm privy to right now, there is none. As the investigation goes on, we may discover that there was a history. But right now, to my knowledge, there's been nothing that's been brought to my attention.
Do we know if they were renting the place or they were?
No idea.
Was he arrested in Ford halftime?
I don't know the make of the vehicle. Obviously, it was the traffic stop. I mean, he left in the vehicle. We were given the description. A patrol officer saw that vehicle, pulled in behind it. He shot the fire, pulled out, and he was just arrested without incident. So,
And I'm fuzzy on how that happened. He got out of the vehicle and shot into the air?
my understanding right now is while he's still in the vehicle, he shot around, and then from there he surrendered. He pulled over the vehicle, got out, and surrendered to police.
How many arresting officers were there at that time?
I don't know. Again, there's, I mean, what I understand is there was a unit that pulled in behind the truck. And then, of course, there were other units that would come to back that person up. I don't know where they were when he actually exited the vehicle.
But there's no information or evidence here that he was pointing directly at somebody with that single shot. In fact, do we say that he shot into the air? Is that-
Correct. That's the information I've got, you bet.
And then hands up or something, so it was easy for the officer or officers on the scene to arrest him? Because I just wonder if someone shoots or has a firearm and uses it, my instinct would be to back up. But
Well, I mean,
and wait for backup.
obviously not being there, I can't tell you exactly how things went down. The information I got is that he unloaded that round and then he just surrendered. So I'm not sure exactly how that went down, but no officers were injured. The children in the back weren't injured. He pulled the vehicle over and was taken into custody.
You recovered the weapon?
Yes.
What kind of weapon was that?
I can't, it's a firearm, so I can't tell you exactly what weapon that was.
How much ammunition he had?
I don't know that either.
Was it licensed?
I have no idea. That's all stuff that may come out as the investigation goes forward. I don't have that information right now.
Would he have been commanded to toss it on the ground?
That's a possibility. Again, I can't say for sure because I don't know how his surrender actually played out. It was a very dynamic situation, and they're all different. So not being there, I certainly couldn't comment on how he surrendered.
Can you comment on the charges that he faces?
I couldn't comment on that either. That would be something that would come from our lead investigative unit.
So the whole family at the house at the time that's when shots were fired, did he go to the house?
Again, that's information I don't have. That'll come as the investigation goes forward. Oh, we just got information that shots were fired and that he had left the scene
With the 2 children?
with the 2 children, and then there was the deceased and the 15-year-old female left at the home.
How much time passed between the initial call and the arrest?
I believe it was around 20 minutes.
Was the firearm found on him the only weapon in your custody right now?
And again, I don't know. I know that the firearm was obviously seized. I don't know what else there was in the truck. As you can understand, with a situation like this, we're going to take every precaution, and we actually had the road closed down just to make sure we process the scene properly this morning. I don't know exactly what else was seized out of that truck. Okay.
Inspector,
Where was it? Sorry, where was the weapon seized? Was it in the vehicle or was it on the road?
That I don't know. Again, I don't have that information.
Do you know how the children are doing?
I don't. Again, the only information I got is they were taken from the truck uninjured. That's all I've got.
Inspector, I apologize if we've got over this, but besides the street on Whitehorn and besides the residents on Rundlehorn, are police investigating any other properties in connection with this?
No, it was just the home, the vehicle, and that was it. It's just the home and the vehicle is basically the scenes that we had.
Sorry guys, we're just gonna leave it at that for now, and then we'll have another one once the autopsy is completed. It's scheduled for today. And then, once they've been formally charged, we'll put out that as well. Anticipate either an avail later today but more likely for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.